Righteously Broken Hour. This is where rebels find grace, faith fuels the journey, and God leads the way. All right. I hope that's not copyright from that movie, but anyway, here we are. Another edition of Righteously Broken with Rebels Reborn. And, of course, I'm always excited about this part of our week because, out of everything that we do, the other videos and, the love that we share, the ministering we do to broken people, even just in our own circle of helping pick them up, this is my favorite hour because it's like, when you're in the army team, they're like at ease. This is like the at ease of our walk. It's just the more broke down, simple, everything, life.
Our Mondays, I feel, is the true end to our week because we can come together and talk about everything that went on.
And it definitely has been a week. That is for sure. If to some extent, it feels like it's even been over a week. Just with all that happens sometimes, you're like, man, are you sure that was only a week? Like, it's only been 5 days? Holy cow, like, what has happened? And so, before we jump too much down some rabbit holes, I'm President Lil King, always glad and excited to be here. And to my left, of course, is Rebel Sassy.
Hello.
And then
Hey
you got
guys,
the man
Rebel
running
Fuzzy,
the show.
VP.
And I'm Bambi.
Wow. Yeah,
She got
apparently.
flustered.
Yeah, because I didn't even know your name for you.
Bubbles.
I thought you were going to say Barbie. I was like, where did Barbie come from? Bubbles. I'm Rebel Bubbles. Nope, that's a snake.
My snake's name, by the way, just in case anyone is wondering.
Yeah, what kind?
She's adorable.
Mm-hmm. What kind of snake is she?
She's a ball python.
Yeah.
She's about a year old, I think. Or getting close to.
That's cool.
We're
Yep.
at Petco.
I love all the crazy little creatures God created.
Oh yeah, she's definitely unique in her own rebel little way.
That's funny. Isn't it true? I mean, you look around, we've got 2 dogs. We have a cat who we named Dog, and he acts more like a dog than dogs do. And his name is actually spelled D-O-U-G, but the
It's
U
Doug.
is silent. U is silent, bro, so it's Dog. Doggy. And so between that, and then we also have a bearded dragon. And it's like, I feel like maybe it's just who we are, just what God is building us into. But our animals are rebels. Like, they break the rules knowing that they're going to get in trouble, and they'll go right into timeout or into the kennel when they get back, and stuff like that. So they know, but they, like, push the button anyway, And so they are our rebel animals, every single one.
No,
of them.
not
Especially
that
Scout, he is the
button.
mascot. Like, he outdoes us all.
Nico he's about 5. He's a American Bulldog. Oh, by the way. He's American Bulldog, and so he is super smart. We have security cameras up and around our clubhouse property and all that. And, like, he has gotten so socially aware or spatially aware that he will watch the cameras and know who's pulling into the driveway. He'll watch the backyard cameras to see what's going on out there, to the point that even at one time, he had figured out where the cameras are placed and where the
Blind spots.
blind spots
spots,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then we decided one night, because we got in the rhythm of just putting him out in the backyard in the back kennel area. And so we were sitting there just one night, and we're like, all right, Nico, we'll trust you for a minute. Go out front, go potty, come back. We're watching the cameras, and you can see our entire backyard. You can see the front. You can see everything. We were watching. We give it about a minute, and then we start yelling, Nico, come on, come inside. And there's nothing, just nothing. We figured out through watching him later that between the shed and the garage, the cameras don't pick up right there. So he knows that if he sneaks in through that little alleyway and around these bushes and back through this way and opposite the fence over there, he passes undetectable on the cameras. And so here's our dog, operating prison break.
I want to put a piece on a string so we can just pass it to each other.
Yeah. I know.
Right?
I feel like every social smoking circle has said that.
Yeah.
Especially with as big as our table gets sometimes, and when we don't have guests, it does stretch it out a bit. But
Yeah.
no, I am just very grateful to be here. I'm glad that we get to do this together, you guys. I really love you guys, even through the turmoil and trials and stuff that the devil brings on. And even right now, we've got storms that we don't even know about that are happening. I mean, we know there's storms. We just have no details on the storms, but they're out there. It's like sitting in the boat with Jesus, but having a blindfold on. It's like the boat feels like it's going crazy and feel the water splashing on your face from over the edges. But there Jesus is asleep doing nothing. And so, man, I'm just going to sit here and pretend I'm with Jesus and do nothing too. He'll figure it out. So,
He always does.
yep, he always does. And so, yeah, this week has definitely been an up and down one. I personally, my father passed away last Wednesday, and he's been struggling medically for the last 8 months or so. And so you just kind of surrender that situation to God, and not knowing what God can be saving any one of us from. And so we just find solace and peace in the knowledge that knowing that I got to pray with my dad the last time I saw him, that he had a relationship with Jesus. And so this is that intermediate run. So outside of that, as always, the devil tries to stir pots and create strife and all these kind of things. But
That's what he's good at.
yep. But man, like I will say and say again, we learn to find joy when trials begin because they produce not just perseverance, they produce hope, they produce knowledge, they produce understanding, self-awareness, all of it. If we have the ability, fortitude, the resistance against the flesh to apply what we're going through to God and His grace and His sovereignty. And so the storms, here we find ourselves. Okay, God, what are you teaching me through this? How can I be a blessing to someone else? Or just what opportunity are you supplying right now that's going to help me grow, even though from my perspective it feels like I'm drowning.
You want to know what it kind of makes me picture? It kind of makes me picture where, like our plants, we stress them to make them grow bigger and flourish more, have more chance to bloom.
Yep.
And that's exactly where we are. We are in the stress.
Well, God tells us He prunes us.
Yeah.
I mean, that ain't an easy process.
But that's exactly what it makes me picture.
Yep. Refinement.
Yeah.
Pruning. And so when James tells us to find joy when these trials begin, it's because there is purpose. There is purpose in the pain. The hard part is just getting away from our own personal perspective over the matter. Because, no offense, but life hurts.
It does.
People hurts, loss hurts, things hurt, trials start up. Devil comes at you. Joseph gets thrown in a hole with his brothers. I mean, just countless times there have been, not only has God walked through us through storms, but just even in the Bible, just referencing back and applying what somebody might have been going through then and how it similarly matches the same context, whether mentally or physically. I've never been thrown in a hole like that with my brothers, but that abandonment feeling, I could relate to that. And so there's always something that's in the Bible that can relate, that God can use to help ground or center us to the point that we start learning and growing through these situations. So when I say things like there's purpose in the pain, like I absolutely 100% mean that. All my trials, all my bad days were a part of the plan, and today I'm grateful for any one of them. Every one of them.
100%, brother.
Yeah, buddy. So, yeah, like you're saying, being pruned, man.
We don't
Being
grow
pruned.
in comfort.
Yeah. Yep, that is the truth. And then just something even on the context of other conversations we were having on earlier too. It's hard to grow if you just won't let go as well. And if you're just thinking about this in terms of like you're trying to drive down the road, you're trying to make progress, you're trying to get somewhere in life, get somewhere in your walk with God, how far are you going to make it if you change your car to the guardrail sitting there on the side of the highway? You're not going to make it very far. So if you don't let go, if you don't just learn to surrender to God, we end up caught up in the storms and life becomes miserable, and we end up having prayers like Job in 3 when he's like, I curse the day of my birth. I wish it had never happened. Blot it out, because of the storms that he found himself in at the moment and the pain his flesh was feeling. He didn't curse God at that moment, but he was wishing God had never created the day of his birth, so he wouldn't have to be struggling through what he was struggling through. And so that is definitely something I feel like a lot of us can relate to on any given day.
100%. Any person on earth goes through that. We all have our trials.
Yep.
And it's up to us to trust in God.
Yeah, absolutely. Because ultimately, if God is the overseer and, the potter and we are the clay and he is forming us, then, surrendering it over to him, the creator, is better than anything I could do myself. If I'm flopping around a piece of clay on I don't know what those spinning boards are called, but if I'm just that piece of clay trying to flop around and make myself, I'm just going to end up a hot
potter's
messing on the
wheel.
floor. Pottery wheel. So you need the potter, you need the clay, you need that bending, that molding, that stretching, that stress, like you said, just even on our plants that help them blossom more. because it helped him overcome adversary.
Adversity.
Adversity. Yeah, there we go. It's one of those 5 words I was trying to say, and then all of a sudden, anniversary wanted to come out, and I was like, that ain't it. And so,
I got one of those coming up.
an anniversary
Yeah.
word.
The 14th, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
It was the day that me and Bambi got together.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Anniversaries. They definitely give you a time for reflection.
They do.
You know, like the ups and downs and all the chaos that you guys have grown and been through since then, and just even where God has
It
taken you
is
guys
a whole
now.
different world.
Yeah.
Completely different. I mean, I can definitely say from the day that me and Bambi got together, we have grown hundreds of 1,000% from who we were.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, I was still willing to go work the street and be a dealer.
Well, it's because what we knew, and it's easy money, but easy come, easy go, and you know, ultimately, it's just our flesh wanting everything we want and wanting it now.
Yeah.
You know, where God sometimes says, you know, just wait, and when you're ready, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You know, we just
Well,
get impatient.
Even in your guys' struggles and stuff, the fact that you guys were both willing when I was like, we want to help you, the fact you guys both said we're both willing to accept the help, like that,
It just shows you where your heart's at.
it's nothing can break you guys as long as you keep that attitude.
Well,
Our
We
biggest
tried
thing.
really hard to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, our biggest thing is communication.
And we don't go
And-
to bed mad.
Yeah,
We
I was
stay
taught
up
by
and
my
talk it out
parents.
as much as we can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Talk
It's
about
not-
it. Don't go to bed angry. Communication is key. Yeah,
That
give
is-
yourself time to
take a deep
not
breath.
be so emotional.
Yeah,
towards
take a
it.
deep breath.
Yeah.
Aborting a crisis for a minute is okay. You can
Yeah.
walk away and because it's in the heat of the moment, it's in that stress and that frustration when the flesh starts coming out, and that's when the vindictive things start coming out of our mouth.
It hit me different when you guys looked at us and said, "You don't fight." Yeah, we do, but it's never big because we don't let it get big.
Yeah.
We talk before it gets to that point.
Yeah. And that's important. And that does take practice and time and energy and trust and effort. And so, like, it's a give and take all along the way. But
Yeah.
beautiful thing about that is even in the hard days,
If
growth
there's-
happens.
One thing that Oma and Opa told me when we first got together was, you know, don't go to bed mad. Talk as much as you can, you know.
Yeah.
Work together and always kiss your partner goodbye. Like before you leave the house, you better kiss your partner because you never know if it's the last one.
Yeah.
Well, and coming
That,
through
you know.
from that situation, and I don't know how in depth we've gone on back on that before, but through that situation, I mean, that's real life. You know, your mom and them teaching that lesson, especially with what your dad went through.
Yeah.
You know, we never know when that.
Well, and for my parents to have that mindset towards my dad had a full military career, 20 years, and they lived together. They lived separate. They had a point where my parents and my sister were all living in Germany. My sister actually started school in Germany, so I can't begin to imagine the stress and struggles of going through that, let alone not being home to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, there is a lot that, you know, we can gain from just learning to try to quiet our minds, aborting a crisis, taking a deep breath, but then coming back and communicating. And even with God, communicating. Ask him the hard questions, you know, be frustrated at him if you need to be in that moment. We are his children, and so he's going to love you. There's nothing that can remove us from his hands. It states that very clearly. Not angels, nor demons, nor myself, nor the world. There's nothing that can remove us from his love. And so, you know, just because we have some bad days or might not understand what's going on around us doesn't mean we can't communicate with God as well. And so, you know, that's why I try to share and teach people to just be who you are, who God created you to be. What God wants removed, he will remove the more you continue to grow with him.
Yeah.
And so just learn to communicate, talk to him, ask the hard questions. And honestly, that's where, You know, the formula for God-given peace, that's where that came from, is asking the questions of, you promise us these things, but here I find myself. Help me understand. And he did. And so never be opposed, or never let the devil shame you of being willing to ask God the hard questions, or even just, you know, being mad at God. It doesn't mean that you're blaming for this or that, but just because we don't understand what's going on at the moment doesn't mean that we're turning our backs on them or anything. Just like my kids, when they throw a temper tantrum, when I tell them no, that's not going to change my love for them. But we get to walk it out and teach them about their feelings and how to experience them and what to do when we have them. I teach our kids all the time. It's not bad to have the emotions that you do, you know, especially when it comes to anger, this or that. People get mad, people get sad, all these things.
Emotions are normal.
Exactly. It's about what you do while you're being overcome by those emotions. Don't act out in anger. Don't get venomous when you're in the middle of an argument. Take a deep breath, go find yourself, but then bring it back and, you know, communicate. So
Okay.
that's just
Give
a really
yourself
big part
time when it is needed, but don't lose yourself in the situation. This biggest thing I can take out of what you just said.
Amen.
Well, and for me, the biggest revelation I had, even in like my relationships and stuff, if I'm just trying to better myself, it has always worked out for me. Just looking internally, how can I be a better spouse? How can I, you know? And then, I mean, as as you are growing and becoming better for your spouse becomes better as well
Yeah.
in the process of it, because you're just growing together. And if both of you are growing individually and then come in and growing together, I mean,
That's what a relationship, a marriage, a partnership, that's what it is.
Mhm.
yeah.
It's growing to become one.
Well, and even biblically, you're growing to become one person, and so
Exactly.
that takes it's up and down days.
Give and take.
Yes, some give and take. But the foundation of it all being in love. You know, we don't have to throw away something that just because today our perspective feels like it's hurting us. Because tomorrow might be the biggest blessing you've ever gained in your life. It just took that struggle, you know, for you either to realize it or for the blessing to show up. You know, don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle happens. I heard that all throughout treatment. Don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle. And that's where a lot of times the flesh gets the best of us. You know, we do. We just let whatever is going on around us supersede the love that was not only given to us from God and Jesus, but
Sorry, I need to cut in before I forget.
Mhm.
But you had just said about 5 minutes before the blessing.
yep,
And I cannot tell you how many times I almost gave up about thinking I was going to get a dog before I finally got it.
yep,
And then right before I did get my dog, you know, I had that really low point where, you know, we thought we were getting a puppy and then it didn't happen, and then, you know, it kind of
yeah.
just, you know.
Well, and that pendulum, I know in our circle, when I say the pendulum, people understand it a lot, and I'll share here in just a second. But you can see, even looking back, hindsight's 2020. The pendulum, the super optimism on one side that everything's perfect, nothing's ever going to be wrong, nothing could ever be wrong. It's so perfect, it's amazing. And then the other side of that is depression, and you know we're worthless, and nothing ever works out. Nobody really loves us, and life is always going to be broken and miserable. And so the goal, especially with God, is to keep that pendulum nice and steady, you know? I mean, you may have a little bit of sway like a grandfather clock, you know, we're human, we have flesh, but it's when we start letting that thing swing that it gets the best of it. Because, like they say, what goes up must come down. So you skyrocket to super optimism, you know, and everything's perfect and we're never going to have any trials and all this kind of stuff. You're basically setting yourself up for failure because as soon as they come, bam, and it comes back even harder because what goes up must come down. And so
Now you
that's
just got
why.
hit with a freight train.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's why to me humility is so important, is because it's not thinking less of yourself but thinking of yourself less. It's just trying to be other centered or God centered or focused on what his purposes are over my own. And so like your situation, being able to see that, we get to learn more about ourselves, more about that plank in our own eye. And that's where real growth starts to develop, especially internally for us. And I've watched it in you guys and in Trunk Monkey and in Big Man and all of it. Like I've watched it. And so you can see the fruit that it's in there, but it does take the struggle of being pruned or being put in the fire to get there. And so it's important to, you know, gain the perspective that even though what we are experiencing is painful, with God it's purposeful. There's purpose in it. And so
Well, and like I was telling Big Man this morning, like God didn't put him in this mana season where he didn't have anything. He's always lived a life where he's always got it handed to him, his grandma, his mom. And now that those people aren't around, I feel like God is literally saying, like, I need you now to do it for yourself. And he has even putting our family in a situation where we don't have a lot of money because God knows our hearts and knows we will absolutely give him anything he asked for
Yep.
if he needed it. But God is trying to grow him and get him to this place of not, we had to go through it.
Yeah. And so, and even with us having to go through it, it helped build our foundation, which now makes our understanding of what he's going through, and let alone our own. We don't have much
Yeah.
financial blessing at the moment to do certain things or bigger things, but none of that bothers us. Doesn't matter whether we have $1 or $1,000,000, because we just know and have watched God come through countless times that when Jesus says, "Don't worry about tomorrow. Today has enough worries of its own," we wholeheartedly do that. We just share today with God. He's got tomorrow figured out, and even the problems that will come at us today, just like Job, they
Well,
could be
and even with your
trials that
book,
build us
you
up.
have a whole chapter that says it's not always about you.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm, ministering to Big Man and stuff like that, I got this realization that if we had the money, we would take care of him. We would give
Oh
it
yeah.
to him.
Well, especially you knowing me, I try to give away everything. I'm just like, here, you need it, we got it. Like, let's share, let's do this, let's do that, and like that's not been a struggle. Like your heart is absolutely amazing, and you also help keep me grounded because there are times that we do have to use what God has given us
Yeah.
in a very smart
Discernment.
manner.
But
with
even if we
discernment.
wanted to help him at this point, right now, we couldn't. And like God showed me, like, it's not always about you. You guys aren't doing anything wrong. You guys are broke because I'm trying to teach other people things.
Yeah.
Do you think that could also be what's going on with me and Dylan too? 'Cause
You never
I
know.
feel like
He-
I'm in the same predicament.
Who does he call for rides? Because I deny him rides. So,
Automatically gets a hold of us, and who gives it?
Yeah. Well, and part of that it just does do, and we, not that any one of us don't understand the struggle, but every single one of us understand the struggle and having to be frugal and not having any blessings, and so you hold on so tightly to everything. But anytime that I start feeling that grip squeeze inside and that worry about, okay, man, we got bills, we got this, we got that, I get reminded with the lady with the 2 coins, and that's all she had was 2 pennies, and she was sticking it in that bucket because she knew God was going to take care of her. And Jesus commented on that and saying, like, the faith of that woman right there alone is impeccable.
My
Because
brain still tries to figure out what we're gonna do. I mean, the other day I was kind of kidding around with Dylan because obviously I'm not going to do this, but I was all like, well, how about I just start selling toe pictures? Just kidding around.
Feet pics.
yeah.
But
Well, and that's how the tree of we know better steps itself in, as the devil comes in with, antagonizing little things, or that very well the flesh could pick up on. Easy money to make something stupid for someone
yeah,
else's
just eat this
brokenness.
bread.
Like, yeah.
Just the devil even tempted Jesus. Like, here's this bread after he hadn't eaten.
Yeah.
And he was like, here. And so, absolutely, the devil will come in. I mean, it still comes into my mind of like, I used to steal and all of that. And so,
Yeah,
sometimes,
makeup, anything, like, you just
sometimes
needed
the
something.
devil will come in and say, just go get it. Just go get the food that you need for your family.
Yeah, well, and let me tell you about this. I found this out yesterday too. Is like, why don't you just share the story of our first date and my birthday? I was so surprised she got me a birthday present, But when you're lost and living in the world, this is exactly it. She was just trying to do something nice for me, and she got me this little
Headphones.
yeah, an iPod and kind of thing and stuff, maybe a Zune, something along those lines, and those kind of things. And it was our first date and the day after my birthday. And so I found out yesterday. She's like, "Yep," and how I got that is I stole it.
I said I have a confession to make.
Yeah, and so like, it's not there. We've all done despicable things, and like I haven't even shared even half of the stories that will eventually come out over time in this podcast. But despicable things. I mean, I've been in handcuffs for almost kidnapping, things like that. I mean, you work at a strip club for almost 10 years. I mean, there's enough stories there that,
Oh, yeah.
like it's not about who we've
Not
been.
kidnapping a kid. Let's put this in context for
Yeah,
our
no,
podcast listeners.
it was not a kid. It was somebody AWOL from the military, and there was definitely some flesh involved because it had to do with my best friend and kind of a situation that involved a woman that some hurt feelings had gotten over and all this, but AWOL. And so we were fleshly convinced ourselves we were doing the right thing, even though we wanted to get vengeance. And, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And so, but even though that's its own testimony all in itself.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. It was not kidnapping for a kid.
Yeah, not kidnapping for a kid. I would never hurt a child. I would, for one, everyone in our family, like, we would step in front for any kid, just absolutely for anyone. We would what God has created in us is to be sheep in wolves' clothing. And so we will go out into a broken world because we understand it. But absolutely, in any way, shape, or form, would I not step in front of the harm or hindrance that would try to befall any little one out there. And so that was an important note. Thank you for clarifying that so people didn't think I was out some crazy person.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that's not trying to justify that what I did wasn't stupid and reckless, but I was very surprised when we were walking out of the cop shop that night with no charges. And don't get me wrong, I mean, like, we called and, the MPs at the nearest base, I mean, they confirmed and this and that even by the end of it, the cops had given us pointers. And I'll share this one with you because I don't know if this will help somebody. Hopefully it doesn't help somebody. But anyway, the cop, just to give context of, we started going in and think you're getting arrested for kidnapping or whatever else because we had this guy. One of them had him zip tied right next to me in the back seat. He was zip tied at his wrists and ankles, so he couldn't run away. But we stopped by a gas station. We bought him a sandwich and a Mountain Dew and stuff. So he's like sitting there eating right next to me and all that stuff. And even in the cop shop, he was talking about how the whole thing had kind of went down and he agreeably went and did this and so on and so forth, and how the confrontation that ensued was not as dramatic as it did seem in the context of how it first started, just this and that. But when the cops pull up to the door and you got somebody zip tied next to you in the back seat, like, they look at you funny.
Yeah,
but by the end of it,
for sure.
by the end of it, and by the time the MPs were involved and the whole situation was out on the table, the cops were like, okay, we get it, and they were kicking us out, and they're like, but just for future reference, if you're doing a citizen's arrest, you can't bind somebody by the wrists and ankles, but you can bind them at the knees and elbows. And so if you're ever in a situation where you need a citizen's arrest, legally do it at the knees and elbows. Welcome to Righteously Broken Hour.
That might depend on what state you're in.
Oh, it definitely probably does. One of God's testimonies, man. I put myself in so many stupid situations.
We don't condone kidnapping.
No, not at all. But I do condone if you had to citizen's arrest somebody because someone was about to do, and you had to don't get me wrong, like, I'm going to help who needs help. I'm 5 feet tall. I'll climb up somebody if I have to, or I'll somebody throw me at you if I have to, but I couldn't, it's not in me to sit. There's two things that are my triggers, and I know this, and I work on this with God because it can come out very easily, especially in our walk with spiritual warfare, is I'm very easily triggered by rudeness or disrespect. And it's not at me, right? People have been cracking short jokes at me my whole life, and people try to be disrespectful and do it, but I love being short. And so, like, there are things that people try to hurt you with, you brush off. And so it's not so much me with the rudeness and disrespect. Like, I can kind of take almost anything because who are you and why are you really saying that? And, like, we can drink a beer, not really drink. We could sit down and have a conversation, or we could walk away. But is it really worth the effort?
If you want, you can give them context to your height.
Oh, yeah,
The
I'm
way
5
I got you
foot
framed
tall.
Right now, you can stand right by your handlebars.
Maybe I should. Okay. We'll keep that going.
In context, this Harley is already lowered like 2 inches already.
Yes. So, in context, my bike. And that bike is a beast.
It is. They don't even know you're on it.
Yeah. But no, really, like, in a situation, like, if you ever have to, I hope you never have to, and this is righteously broken, and this will probably never get used in the crazy conversations we'll end up having in the future, but knees and elbows. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. But yeah.
Knees and elbows.
No, God has been watching over my life for a long, long time, and a lot of that time I spent angry and mad at him, giving him the finger and telling him he didn't really care about me, and all that stuff, just because the pain and circumstances I was going through, I didn't understand, family pain, brokenness, situations that blew up in my face, like even the 5 felonies I got by 15. It never started out with any intent of bad. except the fact of we knew we were skipping school, which is bad, and you get that adrenaline rush, and you're skipping school. Well, my stepdad's house was just a location. How it expired or expanded into something differently through the process of that few days is where things erupted. And so like that and life, I mean, I spent years questioning God and all of his promises, and you say these things, but where's the proof? Even to the point that, like, I mean, I flat out, I'll yell at God, like, if you're not gonna take care of me, then I'll let the devil do it. I will, at least he will. But God never turned his back on me. He never let me go. Anytime I hit a hard situation or I was back in jail, like I said, he was right there at the forefront. And so he is with us, walking with us, even in the midst of the chaos. So no matter how broken we think our lives have been, or how far away we think we may have strayed, there's no day that God hasn't been there with you watching. Hopefully just the whole time trying to get your attention to lead you back to him. But like the sheep's and wolves clothing, we need those scars. We need those stories. We needed that torment to be able to understand our ministry today.
Well, and that's 100%. What I told Big Man too. That was like part of my whole thing is like, he needs you to understand how people are feeling right now with nothing and no one giving them everything. And like, he needs us, me and Ryan even walked through that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to go through that so we can help others.
Yep.
And be empathetic and,
Yeah, love. Walk in love. Yeah. Real love. Love without conditions.
I can get with empathy and empathic. I get those kind of, things because I feel that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I also think that kind of is where I, come in and I am able to feel vibes coming from other people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't understand, like, when they're,
it's a gift and a curse.
It really is.
Well, I almost think any fruit of the Spirit can be, depending on what voice we're listening to.
Yeah.
And so, sorry to cut you off. Cause
for a really long time, though, I thought it was a curse.
I didn't
understand it. Like, somebody walks in the room and pissed off, it just makes me, 10 times more just as mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lily and I do it all the time. Like, 1 minute she'll come in and she'll just be going boom, and then me, and then boom. Like, it's just
mother versus daughter.
Oh yeah, and I win every time.
Well, yeah, I mean, your mom. I wouldn't argue against you if I was your child. That's for sure.
She cries.
Yeah, me, I just used to shut down on my mom. I used to be quiet. Got to a point that stonewall. You are yelling. Life is miserable. It is over. Keep yelling. I stonewall it.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to.
Well, and that's, some of our survival tactics. That's why I just kind of proclaim that sheep and wolves clothing, that our past has made us powerful, is these tactics that we have used for self-defense, to self-survival, learning how to watch other people to the point you can understand them enough to socialize with them and possibly build a friendship. All these little things we did for survival, we can now use for good, for God's kingdom. Your discernment, Bambi, the ability to feel and understand, when you include that with prayer and stuff like that too, you also start gaining the ability of knowing when to reach out or just say, hey, are you okay? Because a lot of times, like, especially as men or just, people, we don't necessarily want to be a burden. And so, like, we will kind of bottle some things up and just kind of hold it all in, and we might not even know.
I haven't quite learned how to tone it into who it is exactly, but I can go through a list. I got a couple people that I will absolutely text and go down like, hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? Hey, you okay?
Yep.
It's also another thing is I can tell when someone is pregnant. I don't know how, but I can get a hold of somebody and be like, somebody's pregnant. One of you bitches are pregnant. I can feel it. And, within like 3 or 4 people, yeah, how did you know? I just know. My best friend Raven, 2 out of 3 of her kids, I got a hold of her and said, you're pregnant, aren't you? And I'm, she lives in South Dakota.
Yeah.
So, she's not even in Anaconda, not even in Montana. And I'm all like, hey, you're pregnant. I can feel it. She's like, how did you know? I haven't told anybody yet. I'm all like, I know you. I'm connected. We're connected.
Right.
Like, I just knew.
Well, no, spiritual gifts, the closer we grow to God, the more developed they become. And with that, comes the foundation and just the workable everyday skills, the common sense per se of what God's heart is speaking over the matter, and we just start being able to operate just as He would,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and we just see from our group that we all are together, but we all have a certain set of skills that makes us whole.
Yeah,
We wouldn't be able to do what we do without,
each
the
piece.
hand or the arm or,
Yeah,
we literally need it all to work together. So, and God knows what He's doing.
yeah,
Yeah, me and you were connected. Like,
Yeah.
I know when you're mad. Like I just
Yeah.
can feel it. I just know. And
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
there's
Even
been
when
a
you're not
couple of
around,
times,
like,
yeah.
she'll just
I
text you
can-
back, "Are you okay?"
Like
You
Yeah.
mad?
what's wrong? Like you need to calm the fuck down because
Yeah.
I can feel you over here. You know, I'm ready to punch someone in the face. So, who are we punching? Huh? Because you know, that's
Yeah.
just I mean, I can do it with Lily too. Like when she's in the next room, you know, something's wrong. I just know, and I do. Dylan's the same way too, and so are you. Like I'm connected
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
certain
And
people.
that's-
You know, the more we
A lot of
grow
people
together.
don't understand spiritual warfare is, in a way, separated into categories.
Is it gone?
Whereas certain people have different gifts and are able to see it or feel it or understand it in a completely different way than
Yeah.
your everyday person.
well, and that's why it's so important that we all come together. And like you were saying, just the small perspective of what our family is and all the broken pieces that we all are individually, together we are making something solid.
Stronger, yeah.
Just even in our marriage,
Yeah.
us separated, two different people can do great things.
Yeah.
But at a half measure, that us together we complete what is just a good full person.
Yeah.
And so that is, part of even why, we wanted to build up even Rebels Reborn, but ATF Lifestyle Ministry is, we should be speaking more about unity and love than division and who's right and who's wrong. God created the whole body. The Bible tells us He both creates in us to will and to act according to His purposes. And so if we have certain feelings or certain strengths, certain gifts or fruits from the Spirit, why else wouldn't we be drawn to those other people that are like that? So the hand becomes strengthened. Well, just because the shoulder and the hand have some distance between them doesn't make them separated from the body. So where's the division? Why is one church got to be better than the other church? Or you just can't adhere to this one and adhere to that one? The unity speaks that we should be coming together under one name, and His name is Jesus.
Well, and right
period.
here it says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm, but how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. And so it says it right there, like 2
Absolutely.
is better than 1, and we have to come together and we become better.
Yeah, the unity, because we all have and have been given and built up by God the ability to do and to act and to minister in certain ways or locations or areas. And so just because our past is broken doesn't mean we can't use it for His kingdom now for good, because we have some understanding that some people that been in church their whole life don't understand. Now, it doesn't make that us wrong and them right and them right and us wrong. It just makes us all different parts of the body. We can go plow and minister to the broken world that's out there, and they can water and nurture as they come in feeling defeated and need built up. Like, we all have a part in what we play overall when it comes to our walk with God. And even within that, I know I've talked about it with you guys a little bit, but there is I go real deep in theological questions when it comes to God. Like, I am not afraid to ask Him the hard ones. And so in all that, we'll have other conversations about, and we already started with the tree of we know better, things like that. But when it talks about we being the bride of Christ, that we are His bride, that if we look back over centuries of growth in man, instead of taking us all individually, but place it as we are one person growing from adolescence to adulthood, you can even watch how God gave us the rules in the beginning. Adam and Eve fell short, they sinned. Noah came, they were subject to death. And so, the toddler. You know, no rules, but you're in trouble. Then Moses came and gave the rules. And so then as a, a toddler or young child, you break some of the rules, you test boundaries, this and that. Like if we break it down into one person, then all of what we've done throughout society and in our walk with God matters. And so being able to get outside of ourselves and just learn to connect in unity is so important, that if we can't connect here and now, what connects us throughout the centuries? And so we need to find a heart that is willing to serve God and come together, knowing that, yes, I might not see things exactly the way the hand does, or I might not serve exactly the way the hand does, but the name Jesus unifies us all. That there should be
100%.
no division. That when we throw a church event, and we do things like No Hangover New Year's, you go around and you get different churches involved with it, but it's like you have to go around and go get all these churches to get involved with it. We're all one city. Why aren't we all connected? Like why are we not all unified and in such a manner that, yes, we know that that family goes to the Baptist church and we go to the Presbyterian or whatever church it may be.
We're still one community.
We're still one community, but there's division there that even in a unified, let's throw a no hangover New Year's event, you can still see the separation. And that's what breaks my heart. And that's why we're here. We're here to speak love, because God taught us a long time ago and through our brokenness and our walks that only with love is love awakened. So let's go love some broken people, because that might be the only saving grace that saves anybody. Love. Just love. Throw a Bible at everybody. Go out there. Some days I would, especially in the morning. Read this. You're going to read this now. 5 foot tall, but I'll get 8 feet. You just listen and wait. But that doesn't open doors. Love does. And that through every one of the doors are the people that's sitting here, and even the ones that are on different adventures with God right now. I just know in my heart the love is what will bring them back. Just because they might be out experiencing things that aren't right and they're hurting and broken and hurting people hurt people, doesn't mean that we don't remember the times where we felt most connected with God. So once God pulls us out of the storm and teaches us a new lesson and taught us a little bit more about ourselves, we get called back to that light, And so I can reflect time after time after time throughout my whole life, where every time I went to jail, it was a new lesson, a new season. God was teaching me something else. And so you can't discount even what society would tell you is miserable, or that person, write them off. They're no good. They just keep going to jail. They're never going to figure it out. They're always going to be bad. You don't know that every single one of those times God hasn't been adding another piece of his foundation into that person. What right do we have to cast the first stone, especially when we don't know what tomorrow brings? And so our assumptions of that person is where the separation begins.
Last stone we cast ended up where we were before here.
Yeah. And not only that, Jesus was out. He commissioned people to go out.
Yep.
He went into the sinners' homes. He went out and met the people where they were, and where he wanted them to be. He went out and loved them until they were drawn to where he needed them to be. And so that's what we're called for. Go do the same thing. So we are righteously broken, really. I mean, that's the foundation of where my heart always takes this. When I say
ATF.
that, but when I say I'm righteously broken, not just the podcast, but like that was a statement I declared over myself. And even Rebel Sassy didn't like that when I first declared it, because like in Christ we're made whole. We've been washed clean. We don't have to succumb and live in the brokenness that the devil tormented us in before. That no way makes us perfect. And so when I stumble, if I'm living by the regards that I am not broken anymore, and I am this and I am that, when I stumble, it hits harder. I'm even more defeated, because how could this? I was just washed clean and I'm supposed to be perfect now. How am I supposed to survive that? And I couldn't. And so God taught me, it's not by your righteousness, it's by mine. So, but it's through your brokenness, I'm going to reach other people. And so I am made righteous through my brokenness because I surrendered to Christ. So I'm righteously broken only by his blood and his giving on the cross.
Yep.
So, because to me, I'm a hot mess. And every time I try to be perfect, I fail every time. A lot. Yes, I fail a lot. The more you try to be perfect, the more you stumble every time. And that's why God tells us to stay in today. Tomorrow's enough worries of its own. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and just spend today with me and give him the burden. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. So, as storms are popping up and things happen that we don't even know what they are about or answers that we're going to have yet, we're not going to worry, because ultimately God is in control. And if I can read the book of Job and trust in that all the times God has proven his promises to me in my personal life, that when God promises that what the devil tries to take away, he'll give back sevenfold. I wholeheartedly believe it. I wouldn't be sitting here
Yeah.
with you as my wife if
Yep.
we didn't believe it and walk that out. And so, man, sometimes that, like bones, things need to get broken a little bit for God to build up that resiliency.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
And sometimes it takes that brokenness for us to get to the point that we're ready to look up. You know, sometimes our flesh is so in control. Even like before, you know, what my grandma calls the enlightenment season, where I was in jail and all of a sudden things made sense. But even before that, we were going to church. I mean, I've known God since I was a kid. He
Yeah.
was my teacher when I was in jail. He was my refuge because I knew I was in trouble and in time out again, you know, and that he had put me there because
Yeah.
I was running amok. But, you know, it all matters. And if anything matters, then everything matters. And so, Job, stories, Jesus, his love for us, all of it. It accounts for, it doesn't matter where we've been, where we are, or even what we might experience. What matters is invite God to do it with you, because even in the most broken situations, he might be leading you towards the biggest blessing of your life.
100%.
You know, story of Joseph, story of David, story of Jesus. I mean, he was born in a manger, in a barn, you know. I chase cows for a living on some days. And so, like, even those little areas are not nice when cows are pooping and peeing all over things.
Takes
Let
us
alone-
back
Yep,
5 minutes. Don't give up.
yep,
5 minutes before the blessing.
absolutely. Can't quit. 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Yep, just keep walk it out. Walk it out. Walk it out. So, what if we played one of the songs through the phone? Would it still pick it up?
We could try.
Or would it sound funny? Because like that one song you made, I mean, that one's a pretty
I
cool
can
one.
tune it on the soundboard too. So
What one?
The one that you made, that with that for the church one,
Same old habits.
with the girl where she's singing. That's a good song, and it's kind of cool if we can start incorporating, you know, some of the songs that we make and stuff.
Talking
Into
about
these?
songs, this song,
We
It-
can't hear that song.
well, yeah, I know. But the song I'm listening to, it's like I'm kind of taking it from like a Christian's point of view, and it's like I don't know.
Word.
I can't say her name. Complicated.
Yeah.
It just, it's like God is talking to you, or Jesus is like.
Well, and you never
Where do you
know
want me to-
when God is trying to talk to you or communicate with you, and it
Just
doesn't
try,
matter what
putting
form.
it by your mic.
Yeah, I just meant like the song, like
Set it by your mic.
it's like Jesus is singing it.
Yeah.
Oops.
So yeah, it'd be cool. We'll get maybe even to where we get better at this. These are songs we created.
I know. You see me. Back on my knees again. Same floor, same tears on my face again. Said I was done with it last week. Now I'm staring at the mirror like that's me. Scrolling through the guilt in my own head. Replaying every word that I once said. Heart say change, but my hands reach back to the same bad habits. Same old trap. I've been trying to outrun what I feed at night. Dim screen, dark room, then I kill the light. Wake up, promise you I walk straight. By noon, I'm already at the wrong gate. I keep building little thrones out of short eyes. Then I bow to the fear and the small lies. But your voice cuts through all the dead noise. Daughter, I'm here, you still my choice. Yeah. Same old patterns, but you don't let go of me. Chains still rattle, yeah, your love keeps holding me. Folding together, you pick up what's left of me. Same old patterns, but you keep on chasing me. Try to clean my soul with a dirty rag. Cover up the shame like a name tag. Smile on my face, but my faith thin. Church on Sunday, then I run from you by 10. I know your word, but I twist it when I want mine. Say I pray later, then I cross another line. Turn your grace to an excuse when I feel weak. Then cry out, help, when I can't breathe. But you don't roll your eyes, you don't walk off. Carry all the weight that I shrug off. You saw every relapse, every bad choice. Still calling me home with the same voice. Teach me how to love what you call good. Break every cycle that I misunderstood. If it's gotta hurt to heal, then let it cut deep. Just don't leave, Lord, don't leave. Same old patterns, but you don't let go of me. Chains still rattle, yeah, your love keeps holding me. Holding together, you pick up what's left of me. Tired of the lie, tired of the one last time. Every time, rip out the roots, not just the leaves. Write your truth. Where my scars used to be, I surrender my phone, my pride, my plans, my secret sins, my hidden hands. I can't fix me, I just agree. You're the only one who can set me
I picked up good.
Well, just in the message, even in itself, I'm glad that people got to hear that. And we'll definitely get better about being able to share and make sure that, it picks it up fluently so people can replay it even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But the message behind that song, it's the truth too. And even from our brokenness and all the things the devil tries to use to shame us still today, it don't have the weight like it used to. I don't regret the days I used to because now God uses them for his good and for his kingdom. And so, but that doesn't stop the devil from trying,
No, not at all.
And we've all lived and experienced really dark days. And so, as miserable as they were then, imagine what God can do with them for his glory in the future.
That's for sure.
If he can multiply Job's misery by 7, imagine being able to turn our brokenness into, being able to reach.
So I got one of the songs I made that I want to share too. This one's Storms and Grace, and put it together kind of thinking upon our past and things we've gone through, walking through the storms and finding our grace, being able to follow it.
Tearing away my control, but I stand firm feet on unbroken stone. In the chaos, I am never alone. Thunder shakes the roofs, but I still breathe. Bruised by battles, but I still believe. Dark clouds loom, but they can't drown my fire. Faith sustains me when the climb gets higher. The storms I rise, through the pain I fight, surviving the darkness, chasing the light. Nothing less than grace can carry me through. God's love is the shelter, the skies turn blue. Stars a map of the wars that I faced. Each one a landmark of unshattered grace. Chains might rattle, but they don't hold me. In his embrace I am finally free. I won't kneel to the world's empty lies, won't settle for shadows under false skies. Every wound is healed through his name. Every loss is silenced by his flame. Through the storms I rise, through the pain I fight, surviving the darkness, chasing the light. Nothing less than grace can carry me through. God's love is the shelter, the skies turn blue. I won't kneel to the world's empty lies, won't settle for shadows under false skies. Every wound is healed through his name.
Amen.
That was a good one.
It was a very good one. And I just really love that. And just even the way music can just
Yeah.
open doors and help remind you of just the simple things, and that, God is here for us. Even in our biggest mess, even in just the worst possible predicament we could find ourselves in, He's there for us and He loves us. And so it's a truth to remind yourself of daily. We are loved by God. And so it doesn't matter of our imperfections. It doesn't matter what the world may say when I can't reach something off the top shelf because I'm 5 foot tall. Like, we all have our defects, of what you would call of whatever. But God
I'll pick
loves
you
us. You pick me up?
Yeah.
I'm scared of heights, though, so you gotta be careful. Yeah. That's why God made me short. He knew I'd be scared of heights. And so He does. He loves us. He loves you, the listeners. I get really excited that we get to build this and that you guys get to learn a little bit about us. And so, amen. Thanks for sharing that
Amen.
song.
Yeah, no problem. That was actually probably like the second or third one I put together. And it just kind of hits.
Well, and I think it'll be really cool, even as we build on this podcast further and further, that, every 15, 20 minutes, we just add in one of our songs, like increment, like on a radio. So it's like, people aren't get stagnant with just too much talking.
Play it in the background.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be nice for them to be able to hear our conversation. You have Trunk Monkey around, you can't hear anything.
Yeah,
You have
for
me
sure.
and Trunk Monkey around, you can't hear nothing.
He was sitting pretty far from the mic on the last one, so he was pretty quiet.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that so people understand what we mean. And then one of these days, I do a Mighty Monday with President Lil King. If you guys are ever checking that out, he's gonna be on today for a little bit, but he'll be on one of these days, and he'll be sitting right next to me, and so you'll be able to see our Trunk Monkey.
Yeah, we had some snowfall, so we had to go help out.
Yeah, leave it to Montana. It's been almost spring weather. We're riding motorcycles around, and today it snowed. Yeah.
2 inches at that.
Yeah. But it's been weird. I mean, honestly, it's been like 50s and 60s the last month. Like, that's
Yeah.
seasonably not
Yeah.
anything we're used to. So,
Or it's been dry and cold.
yeah, dry and cold. But it also, being Montana, we could just be getting winter started, and all of a sudden we have 4 more months of snow.
Yeah.
And so, like, you never quite know how it's going to turn out.
We got now till beginning of April for it to really dump on us.
Yeah, last time, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, 5 years ago probably, we went to Arizona to visit my grandma. She goes down to Peoria, plays golf, and so we went down to visit and say hi. And that was in April. And we had just had a big old blizzard, and like 4 feet dropped. There was still like 3 feet of snow when
I
we
remember
got
that.
back after about a week and a half. And so, I mean, you're in the middle of April with 3 feet of snow on the ground. So it's definitely Montana can change on you in a heartbeat.
Me and Trunk Monkey were actually talking about that today when we took Big Man uptown. Yeah, Toph had come to help me, and we were out smoking in the shed, so we weren't smoking in the house. And all of a sudden, the roof of the shed just...
Yeah, word.
We had already dug ourselves to the shed, so it was a possibility. But, yeah, sitting in there smoking a bowl. Roof just falls on me, catches on his shoulders. I went and grabbed a 2x4 and wedged it up so we
Still,
could get out.
That's a lot of weight, man. You guys are lucky that.
We
Was that at
spent
my house?
at your mom's.
Okay.
We spent the next 2
okay,
hours with shovels and
I
the
remember
snowblower
that.
clearing off the roof.
Man, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
That
cold
house
work
was
too.
horrible, but also at the same time was fucking genius. Some of the stuff he did, like he went up into the base or into the attic, and
The
he-
attic was a grow room.
Yeah, the attic, the whole attic was a grow room, and he like built his own like grow area, like it
Segmented it off,
it
had
was
it
so
plastic
cool.
covered. And
It was so cool.
it was set up.
and it was so hot up there. It was the perfect spot. Perfect.
Leave it to the
spot.
girls. Yeah, it was so warm up there. So nice. Heat.
The
Sat
funny
under a
part
heat
about
lamp.
that,
You didn't need the heat lamp.
to get to it, the attic door was right above our bed.
So it was one of those pull down things,
Yeah.
or a drop
Yeah.
down with the
Yeah,
little
pull
ladder.
down ladder.
Yeah.
That's
It was
cool.
not my favorite part, but it was cool to go sit up there and smoke with, my mom didn't know what the fuck we were doing. Yeah,
That's
we were
cool.
sitting up in the attic smoking. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mom.
There was
Now you know.
See, dang, I've moved out by 15
No,
years.
There
At
was-
that point, it didn't
there
matter.
was leaves and stuff from plants he grew still sitting like the cracks of the side of the attic.
Yeah, and like you can tell he put so much work into it, and so does his kids. Like his kids would ride up on there, and like this was the grow room, this was the where
It
they
was
would
all set
dry
up.
it. Like
Yeah.
they had everything so organized.
Everything but
it
the
was
equipment.
So cool.
But there was 3 different segments because one was just open for like storage, general attic storage.
Yeah.
Then there was the grow section, which was all plasticed off. The dry section that was all black bagged off. It was set up. I'm getting ready to start planning our build.
Well, and that's, I know, we went and have and will again reestablish our little thing, but when you get to grow something out of the ground like that,
It's cool to watch.
especially for you are not a green thumb, and so every plant you own just die. But that you got to walk it out, and it just even in our journey, like you were saying earlier, the stress that we go through these plants. That's what I was visualizing as you were talking,
Yeah.
and like our walk with God, and the fact that these are naturally grown in dirt. Like I would rather trust it as a medicine than other things that have been just in counterparts stamped
Man-made.
on. Yeah, just man-made, just shoved in, over-regulated too much that this does everything what 15 other things wouldn't do. And so I'm just grateful for what God has done, and even the medicine outside of the bias that people will have against us and this and that. Like
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I'm not and don't have to be just a zombie and just walk around just not experiencing life at all, because you're literally just
Oh, I feel
walking
that. I
through
feel that
it.
100%.
Yeah.
From the point of like 6th, 7th grade all the way up to high school, I was on Adderall, and it just zombified me.
Yep.
And then I got the smart idea to start selling shit.
Well, yeah. The devil came in, stirred the pot, said, "Hey, you could get some money. That would look like the tree of we know better.
Yeah.
Hey, if you did this, hey, if you do this, hey." So every day, there we are. We encounter the tree of we know better. And for those of you who haven't caught on yet, or maybe haven't listened to the first one, the tree of we know better is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And so the devil antagonizes us, and we keep running to the tree of we know better. So that's why choose to fight the flesh and stand with God, and just keep being a
Yeah.
blessing and not a burden.
100%.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I don't know if we even last time talked about the TBI and just everything that all that went through.
We
So the
did.
motorcycle accident stuff, and so I'm grateful that God, regardless of what man out there may say, and even that the rules are changing and society is gaining a different concepts of it, but still, just like the separations between the church and everything else, when did we get the right to start casting the first stone?
Yeah.
We pray for people, we walk with people in love, and we help lead them in the way that they should go. And the way they should go is towards Jesus. And what happens when you start going towards Jesus? He starts correcting us and removing and pruning the things he doesn't want in our lives. And so, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, God's putting you in the fire. Just know you'll come out of it way better than you went in. That's for sure.
Refined.
Refined. Yeah.
Well, do you want to pray us out there?
Holy moly, I gotta pray.
Yeah.
Man, those take words. I don't know if I got those.
Are you sure about that?
No. Actually, for one thing, like I've learned, and maybe this will help reach somebody too. You do encounter people praying in public or praying in a public forum can be stressful. And I realized a long time ago it's because when I'm in my head, I'm thinking about everybody else and everything else that I don't want to say or don't want to sound like or don't want to do this. Is that when I just simply let go and pray from the heart, it's exactly what comes out that needs to. And so just let go, let God take the lead, and just let your heart pray it out, because ultimately we don't have the perfect prayers. Sometimes they sound really good, but we have an intercessor that regardless of whether we've got the right words or not, God sees our heart and he is there interceding for us. And so with that in mind, Lord, I just want to thank you for this time. I want to thank you for the chance to just come together and just share your name, even just with in our family and, those who may be listening. And so we just thank you for the opportunity and the reminder that, where 3 or more come together, we are strengthened and just made stronger. And so we thank you for the opportunity of having the family that you provided. and the one that you're building in front of us, Lord. And we just pray that it has the ability to just reach those who feel lost and feel alone, because we want them to know that, for one, they have you and they're not. But for two, they need a family. Well, you've built one right here for them. And so that's where our hearts are at, Lord. So we just thank you for this time and this opportunity. We ask for you to just, take a firm grasp of what the devil may be trying to throw at us and the storms that may be inflicting upon our lives right now. And you just help ease our minds and the burden the devil may be trying to add to us, and just remind us that you are in control, Lord, that sovereignly, that there is nothing that's going to happen outside of your will. And so if we can trust that all things will work out for good for those who love you and are called according to your purposes, that your purposes will prevail, and that our purpose sometimes, all the time, when given to you, has, I said that backwards, but Lord, you know my heart. We find out that our pain has a purpose. And so I just thank you, Lord, for giving us this opportunity, and that you just help keep us pointed towards you throughout the week, and that we just continue to hear your name and find your love in our experiences and our ability to share that with others, Lord. So it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.